Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to change your bank account, you have to first change your belief system. Let me be clear. Money is not the root of wealth. Mindset is. Your external results are nothing but a reflection of your internal programming. That means if you're living in lack, you're likely thinking in lack. If you're stuck financially, it's not because of the economy, it's because of your philosophy. Let me say it another way. Your thoughts are architects of your destiny. What you think habitually, you believe. What you believe deeply, you speak. And what you speak consistently, you eventually experience. If you're broke, frustrated, or stuck, the problem is not your job, your boss, your spouse, or even your product. The problem is your pattern of thinking. People often ask, how do I make more money? But the real question is, how do I think in a way that attracts and sustains wealth? The truth is, money is a result. It's a byproduct. It's not the cause. The real cause is your mindset, because your mindset dictates how you interpret opportunity, how you respond to challenges, and how you value yourself in the marketplace. Let me give you a principle that will change your life if you let it. Your mindset always manifests before your money does. That means if you want different financial fruit, you have to plant different mental roots. The wealth you experience externally will never exceed the wealth you develop internally. Too many people are trying to build 6 or 7-figure businesses while still thinking with a 3-figure belief system. It doesn't work that way. You will sabotage your own success if your mindset isn't upgraded to match your goals. Let's break this down. Imagine trying to install high-performance software on a 1995 computer. What's going to happen? It's going to crash. It's going to freeze. It won't function at the level the software was designed for because the operating system can't handle it. The same is true with your mind. Wealth requires a strong mental operating system. If your beliefs about money are rooted in fear, guilt, scarcity, or shame, then when financial opportunity shows up, you won't recognize it, or worse, you'll reject it, sabotage it, or shrink away from it. Mindset is not just positive thinking. This is not about walking around saying affirmations while your life is falling apart. I'm talking about the kind of deep mental reprogramming that causes you to think in alignment with abundance, excellence, and responsibility. When your mindset shifts, your energy changes. And when your energy changes, your decisions change. And when your decisions change, your results begin to align with the person you are becoming, not the person you used to be. People who attract wealth think differently. They don't see money as evil. They don't see selling as manipulation. They don't see problems as reasons to quit. They see money as a tool, selling as service, and problems as opportunities to create value. And they didn't get that way by accident. They chose it. They chose to install a mindset that serves their vision instead of clinging to a mindset that justifies their limitations. You don't just wake up one day with a millionaire mindset. You build it, word by word, belief by belief, decision by decision. You read books others won't read. You attend trainings others ignore. You sow into wisdom when others spend recklessly. You discipline your thoughts because you know your thoughts eventually become habits, and habits become your lifestyle, and your lifestyle becomes your legacy. The average person is trying to earn more money without doing the internal work required to hold more money. That's why they lose it when they get it. They get the bag but don't know how to carry it. Lottery winners prove this. Most go bankrupt within 5 years, not because they didn't have money, but because their mindset wasn't built to sustain it. They received a harvest their character and mindset never prepared them for. Wealth without wisdom is waste. So when I say mindset precedes money, I mean you've got to become the kind of person who thinks richly, even when your circumstances look poor. You've got to think in alignment with abundance, even when the bills are piling up. You have to believe in your worth, even when your current income doesn't reflect it. Why? Because mindset sets the ceiling. Your income will rarely exceed your identity. That's not motivational fluff, that's spiritual law. Certainly, here is an expanded version of Keynote No. 2, change your self-image in approximately 600 words, written in a Myron Golden inspired, educational, faith-conscious tone. No headings or ending sentences included, as requested. You cannot consistently live a life that is out of alignment with how you see yourself. That's not philosophy, that's reality. You may want wealth, but if you see yourself as broke, struggling, or just barely getting by, your mind will do whatever it has to do to bring your life back into agreement with that internal identity. Your self-image is like a thermostat. If the thermostat is set to 70 degrees and success temporarily heats up your life to 90 degrees, your subconscious will cool things back down. Not because you don't want more, but because you haven't become more on the inside. Your life always resets to your self-impugned. This is why so many people get the promotion, win the contract, land the sale, or start the business, and then find a way to lose it, ruin it, or sabotage it. It's not that they're lazy. It's not that they're not smart. It's that their internal picture of who they are hasn't caught up to the external blessing. That disconnect creates a kind of spiritual and mental tension, and the human mind always moves to resolve tension. It does that by choosing the familiar, even when the familiar is dysfunctional. If you see yourself as a hustler, you will always grind and struggle, even when ease and overflow are available. If you see yourself as average, you will find a way to stay average, even when you're placed in a room full of excellence. You cannot outperform your identity. No matter how skilled you are, how talented you are, or how well you can speak, sell, build, or execute, the image you carry of yourself in your heart is the invisible blueprint that shapes your destiny. If you believe deep down that wealth is for other people, or that you're just lucky to get by, or that you're not good enough, your behavior will follow those beliefs. And the marketplace doesn't pay you based on your intentions. It pays you based on your value. But you will never fully release your value if you don't believe in your own worth. This is why we don't just work on skill, we work on self-concept. You've got to talk to yourself different. You've got to see yourself different. If you want to go from broke to blessed, from surviving to thriving, from average to exceptional, you must first shift how you see yourself when nobody's watching. Your self-image is the root. Your income is the fruit. And if you keep pruning the fruit but never transforming the root, you're going to be stuck in cycles that frustrate you. You'll make some money, lose it, get a breakthrough, then fall back, move ahead 2 steps, then backslide 3, not because the opportunity was bad, but because the inner man never changed. The Bible says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. That's not just about thoughts. That's about identity. What you think in your heart becomes the story you tell yourself. And the story you tell yourself becomes the life you build. That's why the enemy attacks identity first. He doesn't want to just take your stuff. He wants to distort your sense of who you are. Because if he can convince you that you're a failure, you'll begin to create failure, even while praying for success. Your self-image isn't something that gets changed by accident. You have to confront the lies you believe. You have to tear down the stories that were handed to you by people who were broken themselves. You have to stop defining yourself by what you did and start defining yourself by what you're destined for. And that takes work, it takes courage, it takes faith, it takes deciding that who you were isn't good enough for where you're going. Because every new level requires a new version of you. The same mind that created the struggle cannot create the solution. The same identity that tolerated smallness cannot carry greatness. So you don't just need a new strategy, you need a new self-concept. Certainly, here is an expanded version of Keynote No. 3. Wealth is a value exchange in approximately 600 words, written in the same Myron Golden spirit, educational, principle-based tone. No headings or ending sentences are included as requested. One of the biggest mindset shifts you must make if you ever want to create lasting wealth is this. Money is not the goal. Money is the reward. It is the reward for creating value. If you focus on chasing money, it will run from you. But if you focus on solving problems, creating transformation, and making life better for others, then money will flow to you as a byproduct of that value. Wealth is never created in a vacuum. Wealth is always the result of an exchange. And what gets exchanged in the marketplace is not time, not effort, not even energy. It's value. People who struggle financially tend to ask, how can I make more money? But the people who attract wealth ask, how can I create more value? That's a higher quality question, because the marketplace doesn't pay you for your time. It pays you for the value you bring to the time. That's why one person can make $20 0 cents an hour, and another can make $2,000 0 cents an hour, and another can make $2,000 0 cents an hour. It's not because one person is more human than the other. It's because one person has learned how to multiply their impact. They've learned how to compress transformation into a small amount of time. And the more transformation you create, the more compensation you attract. The amount of money you make is in direct proportion to the amount of pain you can help people remove, or the amount of pleasure you can help people experience. That's it. That's the whole game. If you help people lose weight, get married, heal their hearts, grow their business, save time, make money, gain confidence, or live with purpose, you are creating value. And value is the currency of the marketplace. When you understand that, you stop trying to work harder and you start focusing on working more wisely. Because the goal isn't to be busy, the goal is to be effective. And effectiveness is always measured by how much value you create and deliver. Wealthy people think in terms of value. They wake up and ask, what problem am I assigned to solve today? Poor-minded people wake up and ask, what do I have to do to get by today? That difference in approach creates a massive difference in results, because one person is focused on output while the other is focused on outcome. And outcome is what people pay for. Nobody pays for your effort. They pay for what your effort produces. So you can grind all day and still be broke if you're not producing something people want or need. You don't have a money problem. You have a value problem. And that's good news, because it means you don't need to beg, borrow, or wait on someone to give you something. You can develop skills. You can increase your understanding. And that's where it's funny, Adam, because you can hire someone, you can improve your ability to communicate. You can design offers that solve real problems. You can master something and bring it to people who are hungry for that solution. That's what the marketplace rewards. Not need, not hustle, you stop underpricing yourself just to be liked. You realize that charging less doesn't serve people more. It often serves them less. Because people don't value what they get cheaply. But when someone invests significantly, they show up differently, they engage differently, and they get better results. So you're not just charging for your sake, you're charging for theirs. When they pay more, they pay attention. And when they pay attention, they transform. Wealthy thinkers understand this. That's why they sell boldly and deliver deeply. They know the transaction is not just financial, it's transformational. Absolutely. Here is an expanded version of Keynote Note 4. Speak what you seek until you see what you said, in approximately 600 words. It maintains the bold, principle-driven, and faith-aligned tone inspired by Myron Golden. No headings or ending sentences are included as requested. Your words are not just sounds, they are signals. Every time you open your mouth, you are either building your future or breaking it down. Most people don't realize that their life is being shaped by their language. They say things casually that create consequences continually. Your words are instructions to your mind and to your world. They are not random. They are not harmless. They are creative. What you speak today is what you will often live tomorrow. That's why you can't afford to be lazy with your language. If you keep calling yourself broke, overwhelmed, stuck, or unlucky, don't be surprised when your life mirrors that reality. You're not describing your world, you're directing it. The Bible says life and death are in the power of the tongue. That means your tongue is not neutral. It's either moving you closer to life or dragging you toward death. There is no middle ground. Every word has energy, intention, and impact. If you keep saying, "I'm not good with money," then your brain will obey and filter your choices to match that statement. If you say, "Nobody ever supports me," then even when people do show up, you won't see it clearly because your words have trained your mind to filter out support. But when you say, "I'm blessed, I'm favored, I'm increasing, I'm prepared, I'm walking in purpose," then your brain begins looking for the evidence to support those declarations. You don't wait until your circumstances change to start speaking in alignment with success. You speak what you seek until you see what you said. That means you speak health even when your body feels weak. You speak wealth even when your bank account is in the negative. You speak peace even when your mind is under attack. Because your words are not just reflections of your environment, they are weapons to change it. You don't speak based on what's present. You speak based on what's possible. And when you speak with conviction and faith, you are placing a demand on your destiny to rise up and meet your confession. The world is voice activated. Everything in creation responds to sound. When God created the heavens and the earth, he didn't think it into existence. He spoke it. He said, "Let there be," and there was. That's not just a story. That's a system. You are made in the image of the Creator, and that means you have creative capacity inside of you. You can frame your world with your words. You can call things that be not as though they were. But too many people are calling things that be as though they'll never change. And then they wonder why nothing moves. The tongue has authority, but it needs to be trained. You can't keep calling yourself names that God never gave you and expect to walk in your purpose. The reason some people stay stuck is because they've built a prison with their own words. They say things like, "I always mess up," or "Nothing ever works for me," or "People like me don't succeed." And they don't even realize they're rehearsing defeat on repeat. Your mouth is either blessing your life or cursing it. And you cannot afford to speak death into the very thing you're trying to resurrect. If you're praying for increase but speaking like a victim, you're canceling your own seed. If you're asking for favor but confessing fear, you're sabotaging your own harvest. Your confession must match your expectation. Faith speaks, fear whispers, and silence agrees with struggle. So you have to open your mouth with intention, with power, and with clarity. Declare what you believe, even if your feelings don't agree yet. Speak vision, even if your environment doesn't validate it yet. The words you say shape the world you live in. If you want to shift your results, you must first shift your vocabulary, because language is leadership. And before you can lead others, you must lead your own future with the power of your words. Absolutely. Here is the expanded version of Keynote No. 5. Discipline is the bridge to dominion, crafted in the rich, spiritually rooted, and high accountability tone inspired by Myron Golden. It's approximately 600 words with no headings or ending sentences as you requested. Everybody wants dominion, but few want discipline. Everybody wants results, but few want to build the habits that produce those results. The truth is, there is no such thing as lasting success without personal discipline. Gifts can get you in the room, but only discipline will let you stay there. Inspiration is a spark, but discipline is the fuel. Dominion, Authority over your time, your money, your business, your health, your calling doesn't come because you desire it. It comes because you've been trained to manage it. You don't stumble into mastery. You train your way into it. And discipline is the process that builds the capacity to sustain what favor brings into your life. Discipline is not punishment. It's preparation. It's the internal structure that allows you to carry the weight of the blessing without breaking. Too many people are asking God to bless them financially, but they have no financial discipline. They want a bigger platform, but they haven't mastered consistency in private. They want more clients, more revenue, more opportunities, but they're still negotiating with themselves about the basics: when to wake up, whether or not to finish what they started, how they handle delay, how they react under pressure. What you don't master in private will expose you in public. Discipline is what forges the version of you that can stand when others collapse. A person with a millionaire mindset understands that wealth isn't a one-time event. It's a habit. Success is not something you do once and hope it lasts. It's something you become through repeated, intentional action. Discipline is what turns information into transformation. Most people don't need more strategies, they need more structure. They know what to do, but they haven't trained themselves to do it when it's inconvenient. And that's what separates the wealthy from the wishing. Wealthy people understand that feelings don't determine their actions. Standards do. And standards are enforced through discipline. Discipline doesn't always feel good, but it always does good. The gym doesn't feel good at first, but it produces strength. Saving money instead of spending it may feel restrictive in the moment, but it produces freedom later. Saying no to distractions, turning off the TV, walking away from the easy road. All of that may feel uncomfortable in the short term, but it builds the kind of character that wealth can trust. Because wealth is not just about dollars. It's about stewardship. Motivation is seasonal, but discipline is permanent. And the people who win are not the ones who feel like it, they're the ones who do anyway. Because dominion is a reward for those who refuse to be mastered by their impulses. You can't rule your world if you can't rule your habits. You can't lead others if you can't lead yourself. The same mind that built your struggle cannot take you to your destiny unless it's renewed and reinforced through disciplined action. God is not going to give you more if you're mismanaging what you have. And sometimes the delay you're experiencing isn't the devil, it's your lack of discipline. You're praying for elevation, but heaven is waiting for demonstration. Can you handle success when it's inconvenient? Can you keep building when no one's clapping? Can you keep sowing when there's no harvest in sight? That's what discipline answers. It's the quiet commitment to excellence when no one is watching. And that quiet commitment eventually turns into loud results. Because discipline always pays off. It may not pay off immediately, but it pays off inevitably. Here is the expanded version of Keynote No. 6, Proximity to Purpose, Unlocks Prosperity. Written in the same principle-centered, spiritually grounded, and Myron Golden inspired voice. It's approximately 600 words with no headings or ending sentences as you requested. Purpose is not just a nice idea, it's a divine assignment. And the closer you move toward that assignment, the more aligned your life becomes. Prosperity is not just about how much money you make. It's about wholeness, It's about walking in favor, walking in clarity, walking in authority, and walking in flow. Prosperity is the fruit, but purpose is the root. If you chase prosperity without discovering your purpose, you'll end up exhausted, frustrated, and often confused. But when you operate inside of your purpose, prosperity doesn't have to be chased. It begins to chase you. That's because provision is always tied to assignment. When you find your place, you find your flow. And when you find your flow, increase becomes a byproduct, not just a prayer. Too many people are trying to figure out how to get rich without first figuring out why they were born. You weren't put here just to pay bills, retire, and die. You were designed with intention. You were crafted to solve a problem. There is a group of people on this earth whose lives will be transformed when you walk in obedience to your purpose. That's why the enemy doesn't just attack your finances, he attacks your identity. If he can confuse your sense of purpose, he can keep you disconnected from the source of your prosperity. Because as long as you're out of alignment with who you were created to be, you'll be out of position to receive what's already yours. When you get close to your purpose, your energy changes. You stop waking up with dread and start waking up with drive. You stop being easily distracted because clarity breeds focus, and focus creates momentum. The clearer you become about your assignment, the more confident you become in your actions, and confidence is magnetic. It attracts the right people, the right opportunities, and the right resources. Why? Because the world recognizes when someone is operating in conviction. When you carry conviction, you become a signal in a noisy world. Purpose gives your presence weight. Proximity to purpose also helps you discern what to say no to. Not every opportunity is your assignment. Not every door is meant to be walked through. Just because it looks good doesn't mean it's aligned. Prosperity comes faster when you stop scattering your energy and start concentrating your impact. That means you've got to stop trying to be everything to everyone. You don't need to be available, you need to be assigned. When you move with divine precision, you multiply your effectiveness. Purpose gives you that precision. It helps you filter your decisions, your relationships, your investments, and your time. This is why some people seem to work less but produce more. It's not because they're luckier, it's because they're more aligned. They're not wasting years climbing the wrong ladder. They're not chasing every shiny object. They've found their lane and they're running in it with authority. And when you operate in that space, doors open. People are drawn to excellence wrapped in purpose. Money flows to movement and movement flows from mission. If you don't have a mission, your money will always feel unstable. But when you lock in on your mission, money becomes a tool, not a torment. Purpose also activates your inner power. There's a different level of creativity, resilience, and vision that shows up when you know why you're doing what you're doing. Purpose keeps you going when the path gets hard. Purpose pulls you out of fear and into faith. It silences the voice of doubt because you're not just trying something, you're fulfilling something. You're not hoping to be useful. You're walking in the knowledge that you are essential. And when you begin to live like you're essential, you start commanding different results. Your value increases because you're not offering random services, you're offering divine solutions. Here's a powerful conclusion to your full keynote speech. Staying true to the Myron Golden inspired tone, faith-driven, high accountability, transformational, and direct. It ties together all 6 keynotes into a unified message of mindset, purpose, and wealth building. So here's the truth. Millionaire status doesn't start with your bank account. It starts with your mindset. Until your thinking changes, your income won't. Until your discipline matches your desire, your destiny will stay dormant. You can't have dominion over your life if you're still letting excuses lead you. Wealth is not just something you acquire, it's something you attract by becoming a person of value. And value is built through vision, vocabulary, and the right environment. You must speak what you seek. You must believe beyond your current balance. You must build habits that reflect where you're going, not where you've been. Because nothing changes until you change. You don't get wealthy by working harder. You get wealthy by thinking higher, by solving problems, by serving people, by stepping boldly into your assignment. The closer you get to purpose, the faster prosperity finds you. You weren't created to live small, struggle endlessly, or survive endlessly. You were created to reign. But reign doesn't come through wishing. It comes through wisdom. It comes through willingness. It comes through work. The kind of inner work that reshapes your thinking, redefines your language, and redefines your future.